Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 31 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week I brought in 1,786 points, which is actually a pretty good jump from last week's score, 1623, but well short of our best round score, over 1,000 below it. The current virtual best did see a significant rise, over 100 points there as well, to 2516, and the all-time virtual best also pretty good rise there to 5780. Looking at the 10 games individually, PCM 19 in the career mode, now on 86 points. We're scoring really well for a continental team. But ultimately, it's only going to get so high, but we should definitely be in Continental Pro next season. And we'll see that jump a bit more, up around 200, 300, 400 points next season. In the Stage Racer for Pro Cyclist mode, we're now at 29 points. Not a massive jump from where we were a week ago, but I'm steadily improving, and so we should start seeing better performances soon. But again, Continental, you're only going to get so much. The Classics Rider, new series, only 1 point below it at 28. Fewer episodes, not as far into the season, but having a bigger impact. I think the difference between the two is that as a stage racer, you need to build up a lot of attributes to get to where you're going to start winning races. For the Classics Rider, it doesn't take quite as much to win individual races. So it requires a little bit less to have an impact, to be somewhere, to get top finishes. You're not going to win big races like that, but pulling out the occasional result in the right type of terrain is, I think, a little bit easier to come by early on, and it's already starting to show. Motorsport Manager, the struggle continues. We wish we were Williams. We are so far off the pace. We're inching closer, but inching, well, when you're as far down as you are, I don't think we're going to get there this season. I really don't. And if relegation is a thing, then we're going to be starting the playthrough again with one of the existing teams instead of creating one from scratch. We'll still start at the bottom, but it's... they put us 3 seconds off the pace. And when you cut that to a second and a half, you're still a second and a half off the pace. And, it's just not competitive. Steel Division 2, really good start. Really good start to the playthrough there. First campaign went oh so well until suddenly I found out that there was a timetable that was just not realistic and you have to rush through things, and it was like, okay. And ultimately we failed. But second campaign, knowing the time constraints and really just pushing for control, moving the front line, control of space, control of land, having a positive impact this time. This week, especially on the northern part of the front, we made massive progress in just a day and a half into the campaign. Southern front, not as easy, and it's going to take something to either bypass. And my real goal is to bypass and encircle and then be able to rush on from there. Otherwise, that southern front could create a real issue, and I might have to play it differently, where I take the northern front very, very quickly and then use the northern front to push down into the southern front. So otherwise, that front line is not going to be an easy one to take. But I might start taking, chip shots at it here and there and see what I can do to break it down. But yeah, northern front, really good. Southern front, a challenge. Imperator Rome, continuing to look really good. Almost jumping to 500 points now. We had that real breakthrough in this last few episodes where I went from fledgling small nation into a real powerhouse once we became democratic, once we advanced into that next realm. Instantly we are far superior than our neighbors, and I really grappled with the idea of trying to go for 3 of the 4 remaining cities all at once and one giant war, and was like, we might be making progress, but I think that might have been a bite off more than I could chew kind of situation. Didn't want to go there, didn't want to risk it, so held off. So we're going to continue to look for the 1 or 2 city opportunities. Might even just take a smaller war just to finish off some land, finish off some opponents that would otherwise be in a war later. So we're going to have to go back to chipping away at it. But we're down to just 4 cities from becoming Gaul and fully accomplishing our goal. And then once that happens, I think we will be able to start to take on bigger wars of smaller nations and really control this thing. So looking really good, but not done yet. Draft Day Sports College Basketball Conference A. We did it. We've made it to the top tier. So the main goal of the playthrough was to work my way up through the divisions and hit Conference A. Now that we've done it, the first thing is staying there, because it is a little bit of a rebuilding year for us. It's looking likely that we can. It's looking like we can stay there. We're not going to get relegated, but that's still not guaranteed. So kind of that first goal of this season anyway is to avoid relegation as we rebuild to the future. And next season, I think we're looking really good. And then speaking of from there, right, the next goal, the next target is to build a team capable of getting into the Final Four or consistently getting into the Elite 8. Now that we're in Conference A, I think recruiting can and should be a little bit easier, but we still have low prestige. So you got to build that somehow, and it's really hard to build that when you're surrounded by teams of a higher caliber that can out-recruit you and get those super elite player. That's what I need to start getting, is that super elite player so that we can get into the Final Four. And that's tricky. So that's kind of the next step, is to figure out how to make that happen. PCM 18 career mode, we finished the season as a Continental Pro team. We're going to be a Continental Pro team again next season. So our mark of 439, that's kind of what we're going to aim for next season, is matching that, essentially, and building into a team that can make it into the World Tour, where we can then score more points. Maybe, just maybe, I can get more invites to World Tour races next season. I guess that could be a target. That'll be a chance to score more points than we have. But ultimately, we're a team of not super high prestige, but dominating Continental Pro. But that doesn't get you into the World Tour by itself. And so hopefully with a new sponsor coming, we will be able to increase the budget that following year enough so to hire some guys and maybe, just maybe, squeeze our way into the World Tour, where I already know we could be ultimately successful. We could score enough to not be in trouble. F1 2019 career mode, it was Monaco this week. Hardest course in a Williams, and they nerfed the Williams even further with a recent update that just puts you so far below all the other cars. And then I had 2 aero upgrades with only a 15% chance of failure, and they both failed. So no upgrades and Monaco. I went maximum wings, and it still was difficult to get around the turns. I used more flashbacks in that race than I typically use in half a season. So it was a struggle, and I ended up getting lapped. I was 2 seconds off the pace compared to everybody else. I went through a nice, really long stretch for about 10 laps where I had no problems, no flashbacks, nothing. I was good half the race. I got through the first few laps struggling, got comfortable, ran well, and then I pit. And as soon as I pit, I came out right behind the top 2 cars, meaning I got lapped. And then it was just blue flag after blue flag and trying to stay out of the way. And that's where the last few laps just became chaos, as I was trying to let cars go by and not be in their way, and meanwhile keep my car off the walls. Draft Day Sports College Football. We have 2 wins. The team looks better and better. But I think we're at, 2-2? It's still a little bit of a struggle, but I think we could be on our way to my first plus 500 season, hopefully. We'll see, but we've slowly built up, and it should start raising the prestige and making recruiting a little bit easier for us, and not just always going for the scraps that nobody else recruits, but maybe, just maybe, actually getting a couple of those recruits to sign for us legitimately. And last season we kind of did that at the end of the season, where a few of the players just ended up signing with us, but of course they weren't being recruited by others, so that didn't hurt. But at least it was not just we hate you, but nobody else offered me a scholarship, so I guess I'll sign on as of like the final day that they could possibly sign. So we're building. I guess we're getting there. But again, the overall, it's still short of 2,000, so that sucks. But with so many new games, so many new series, I mean, all the PCM 19 series, Steel Division 2, it's all F1 2019, it's all new stuff. And so the fact that even one of those is beyond 100 right now is a good thing. And PCM 19 career mode is almost to 100 already. That's a good thing, I suppose. But yeah, we've got a long ways to go. Unfortunately, PCM 18 career mode, the end of the season came this week, so those 439 points are going to go to 0 next week, and we got to start all over again. And while it should accumulate points quicker than the PCM 19 ones, as it's Continental Pro, and those are all Continental, that's an established team. I know my riders. It's still going to start at 0, so it's going to go back, and I'm only doing 1 episode a week on that series now, and so I wouldn't be surprised at all if I have fewer than 25 points next week on that. It is what it is. So 400 points going away on the current score, so that kind of sucks. But at least current virtual best is back above 2,500, and we'll just keep going, keep grinding. On the all-time virtual best side, big jump by Imperator Rome from 10th up to 6th. PCM 18 scored, and it topped out that score. The season ended, and yet it went down a place. So it didn't get enough points to overtake Dirt Rally or Factorio or any of those. So going to have to wait and see next season if we can't push that closer to 500. But again, as we're still Continental Pro, shouldn't see a major change. Could see a minor change, maybe we score another 30 or 40 points, but we're already the best of Continental Pro teams, and how much more could we do? Probably not a whole lot, especially without the invites to the World Tour races. And while we moved our profile up slightly this season, I don't think we're going to have enough profile to get invited to very many World Tour races. We're not the teams that are right on the edge of World Tour, and I have a feeling it might even be another whole season as we get to the edge and then get over the top. So I don't know if that team's ever going to see the World Tour. I have a feeling, especially as it's an older series, PCM 18, that maybe this next season's the last season, and we do what we can, and maybe we can move up 2 or 3 spots in the standings and get closer to 500. But it's only going to do so much. But anyway, that does it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. And